Thank you for the invite to speak today. It's an honour to be part of this meeting, and I'm just going to dive straight into it. Look, growing up as an activist in the building industry back in the 1990s, where everyone was self-employed, mass bogus self-employment, and everyone was working on agencies or various other sort of tax avoidance schemes that the employers put you on. When you was an activist, our political education and the history that we learned about the trade union movement wasn't because we'd been on training courses put on by the TUC or by our own unions. It was essentially word of mouth. We were talking to each other in informal chats, either on picket lines or in a pub after a meeting, and it was, one generation passing on their stories to another generation, as I said, most of the time just by talking to each other, but sometimes by rank and file pamphlets or leaflets that people gave out, or shared books, that kind of thing. So the books that I remember in the in the 80s and 90s that we were sharing and talking about on building sites was obviously Des Warren's The Key to My Cell, which is all about the Shrewsbury pickets. It's inevitable that building workers in the 80s and 90s were talking about the Shrewsbury pickets, and quite rightfully they're heroes of ours. But another book that was shared by construction workers on building sites and was given to me by a bricklayer was this book, Green Bands, Red Unions, by Verity and Meredith Bergman, which turns the Building Labourers Federation, the BLF, in Australia, into my absolute heroes. We should all have heroes, in my opinion. I think it inspires people, and Jack Mundy and Bob Pringle and the BLF in New South Wales in the 1960s and 70s really inspired me. It was the Green Bands. It was the involvement of active involvement of getting women into the industry and as organisers. The rank and file approach that was deliberately putting things in place in order to stop bureaucracy taking place, limited tenure, anti-apartheid, Aboriginal rights. What inspired me, was the fact that you could see trade unionism not just about being about pay or safety, which inevitably is what it is about, terms and conditions. Of course, that's what trade unionism is about. But it's not just about individual representing people at grievances and disciplinaries. It's trade unionism as a bigger, wider part of a bigger social movement for change. That's what inspired me, and throughout the 90s and onwards, building workers, and I've been proud to do it myself, have been part and parcel of trying to do that kind of rank and file, broader social movement, trade unionism. I remember in the 1990s, Balfour Beatty were going to build a big dam in Turkey called the Ilusu Dam that was going to destroy a load of architectural, archaeological sites that were, World Heritage sites, and the UCAT regional committee in London, which I was part of, passed a green ban on the Ilusu Dam so that none of our workers would work on the Ilusu Dam. When fracking was kicking off, I remember going down to Balcombe, and we had a meeting in the Reclaim Our Power meetings where we talked about introducing a green ban for working on fracking that would destroy the environment. I remember back in the 90s, I helped write this magazine, Rank and File magazine, Builders Crack, and one of the articles that we produced at the time was this one, all about the green bans that the BLF did in Australia too, and that was given out and sold across all the big building sites in London. Would be thousands of construction workers would be reading about what the BLF in Australia did, and we didn't just talk about it. Pete Carter, one of the UK activists unionists from Birmingham literally occupied a tower crane in order to try and save Birmingham Post Office, the old Birmingham Post Office. You know, construction workers coming together to save the environment, to defend things. And if we can do that for the Elusu Dam, if the BLF could do it for the Sydney Opera House and the Rocks, then also we can learn from those rank and file tactics, and we can do it as part of a wider social movement for climate change. You know, trade unions should be introducing green bans on carbon, big corporate carbon emitters, and using our industrial muscle to try and improve, you know, not just our own terms and conditions, but for the whole of society and all of our members and their families. It's a pleasure to speak. I've gone over me 5 minutes. I do apologise. You know, the union movement shouldn't just look at the BLF and praise them and pat them on the back, in the same way as we shouldn't just look at the Shrewsbury Pickets and praise them and pat them on the back. We should learn the lessons of how they mobilised and bring that into trade unionism in 2021. Thanks very much. Sorry I went over my time.